Generative Adversarial Network. Welcome to our Generative Adversarial Network class. This is part 1 of this GAN series, which is called as Generative Adversarial Network. So, in general, the AI model can be classified into 3 different big categories. One is traditional models like supervised models, and unsupervised models, and second class can be this reinforcement models, and third one is GAN, which is called as Generative Adversarial Network. So, let us see this first class. This is the simplest one compared to reinforcement model and GAN. In this class, we do have two different types. One is supervised model and unsupervised model. The classical example for supervised model is predicting the house price. Predicting the house price. In this type of model, supervised or unsupervised model, we need the data. So, any model in AI model, we need the data and we come up with the model which is called as the mapping function, which learns from the input data and predicting the outcome, which is called as y prime. So, the input data in supervised model will have both the input vector x and y. Y is the input space and y is the output space and x is the input vector. So, we will have n number of observations 1 to n, and using this n number of observation, and we create a model, this is mapping function f of x, and which would help us to predict this y. After we train our supervised model, then if we give a new observation where we do not know the y, we know only the x vector, then this mapping function, or we call it a supervised model, will predict y prime. So, the as I said, the classical example would be predicting the house price, or in case of classification model, another example could be whether it is going to be rain tomorrow or not. The next one is, in case of unsupervised model, what happens is we do not know the y, we only know the x vector, and we create a model mapping function. This model would learn the pattern from the input vector. So, what it does is it creates some kind of y, maybe it comes up with that different segments of this input data. The example could be segmenting the customer profile. Based on the customer profile, it may come up with 3 different segments: customer segment 1, 2, 3. Segment 1 could be the highly educated customers, where they have the high income could be very high, and they are highly educated, and maybe their income is very high. So, based on some information from the input vector, it could come up with 3 different segments of customers, and based on those information, what we can do is it would be very helpful for marketing or product promotion. So, now we have seen about the first classes of the AI model, supervised and unsupervised. What happens with reinforcement model? Reinforcement model is another classes of model, reinforcement models, which is equivalent to optimization model. Here the objective of these models are optimizing some function, maybe maximizing the reward or minimizing the cost. The example in reinforcement model is training some robot or agent to learn some task. The task could be maybe the cleaning the house or driving on the road. So, here this type of model would observe or the environment would be the input space for this model, this type of agents, and we train the agents just learning the pattern from the input vector x, and the learned model would complete the task more efficiently and more optimally. And third type of model is called as generative adversarial model or adversarial network, which is called as GAN. So, we will be studying about this GAN model in this series. So, how this GAN is different than those first two different type of models? GAN is generative in nature. This is the fundamental nature of the universe. The universe itself is generative or creative. Even we human beings are generative and creative in nature. So, human beings are capable of creating a new world. Humans can create new paintings, can create new architecture or design, and or can create new image, or you can create a new poem or story based on our learning from our childhood. Or we human being, let us assume that here is a human and the human is learning so many things from the environment and he creates the new environment. So, here the GAN, in GAN what we are going to do is, instead of human himself creating the new world, why do not we create a computer for doing the task? So, instead of a person, the person would use a machine or create a machine, that machine would create this world. So, now we teach this machine to do painting, to do architectural design, or to create the image or create a poem or story. Now, instead of we as a human being create this world, we can simulate this world using machine. This is the fundamental nature of this universe. Even universe itself would create new species and create the new trees or animals, human beings. So, we are evolving over the period of time from the past. We can simulate the similar behavior using the machine. This GAN network is going to be the feature. Now, we will see how these GAN networks work. So, in a regular network, what happens is, we actually in traditional network, the supervised and unsupervised learning, the objective is to predict something. So, this mapping function f of x would be predicting y prime. Already we know the y and x. So, here the predictive function is going to predict y with the probability function p of x, p of y given x. This is the probability function of the traditional models, supervised models. But in GAN, what is the model would look like? The model would look like p of x, probability of creating the input vector itself. Here the input space would be the noise. So, here we do have a generative GAN network. This GAN network would create new x's such that the new x is completely new from this input vector noise. So, here we are going to create this probabilistic function, probabilistic function of this x. X could be of any dimension. Here in let us just simplify this understanding this concept. Let us assume that we want to create a GAN to create new images, new celebrity images. So, what we do is we have so many, maybe 100,000 celebrity images collected all over from the world. So, we have input images and we train our GAN network such that it understands the latent space of all those inputs vector. So, the input image could be of n dimensional vector, maybe 100,000 or 10,000 dimensions of input vector. So, instead of just using all those high dimensional vector, this GAN network would convert this input vector into the latent space. It is a lower dimensional vector space and then comes up with this probabilistic function of creating this input vector space. Once we train our model, this GAN can generate new celebrity images. New celebrity images will not be the original celebrity images, but looks like a celebrity image. So, this would be maybe could be the function of this GAN in terms of generating images. So, in our next class we will study about how this GAN function, what are the architecture of the GAN network, overview of training the GAN network. See you in our next class. Thank you.